Have you ever witnessed a grown adult throw a complete and utter temper tantrum in the middle of a hospital corridor over an ex-lover who moved on over a decade ago? If you haven't, you clearly missed the latest episode of Beyond the Gates, because Leslie Thomas just delivered a masterclass in absolute delusion. We need to talk about the sheer audacity of this woman, the profound wisdom of Nicole Dupree, and the bruised, fragile ego of Tomas Navarro. Buckle up, because today's deep dive is not just about the emotional explosions on our screens. It is about the psychology, the boundaries, and the harsh realities of relationships in this soapy universe. Let us start with the hospital showdown that left everyone's jaws firmly on the floor. Ted Richardson, after finally confessing his love to Shanice Johnson, decided it was time to take their relationship to the ultimate next. He did not just ask her out on another fancy date. He officially invited Shanice to move in with him. It was a beautiful, tender moment between two people who have been through the emotional ringer. But of course, in the world of Fairmont Crest, you cannot have a private, romantic conversation in a public space without a resident villain lurking in the shadows. Enter Leslie Thomas. Leslie accidentally overheard this massive milestone conversation at Garland Memorial, and instead of walking away like a rational human being, she absolutely lost her mind. She stormed over and began screaming that Shanice was actively trying to usurp her position and, get this, tainting family memories. The audacity. Let us pause and unpack the sheer, unadulterated hypocrisy of that statement. What family memories is Leslie talking about? The ones where she hid Eva's paternity from Ted for years out of pure selfish pride? Or maybe the memories of her actively trying to destroy Ted's marriage to Nicole? Leslie's logic is so fundamentally flawed that it borders on clinical delusion. She genuinely believes that sharing biological DNA with Eva grants her a lifetime VIP pass to control Ted's romantic life. But here is where the scene shifted from a standard soap opera catfight into a moment of incredible character growth. Ted did not cower. He did not try to pacify Leslie to keep the peace. He stepped up and fiercely defended Shanice, delivering a stone-cold, ironclad declaration that Leslie has absolutely zero right to interfere in his personal life. It was the boundary-setting moment we have been begging Ted to execute for months. He essentially stripped Leslie of any perceived power she thought she held over him. The collateral damage in all of this, however, is poor Eva. Imagine waking up from a life-saving liver transplant, still physically and emotionally exhausted, only to hear your mother screaming like a banshee in the hallway because your father is moving on with his life. Eva was visibly drained, completely exhausted, and profoundly disappointed by her mother's inability to accept reality. This was a breaking point. The rift between Eva and Leslie has just widened into an absolute chasm. Leslie's refusal to respect boundaries is actively destroying the one relationship she claims to value above all else. If she doesn't check herself soon, she is going to lose Eva completely. While Leslie is busy burning bridges across town, Nicole Dupree is busy building them. The dynamic between Nicole and her daughter Catherine, Kat Richardson, has always been complex, but the recent episodes have showcased Nicole as an absolute powerhouse of maternal wisdom. Kat is currently drowning in a suffocating pool of guilt. She impulsively bought a luxury condo, rejected Tomas Navarro's very public, very overwhelming marriage proposal, and now feels like she is the villain of her own love story. Nicole sat her daughter down and delivered one of the most profound, emotionally intelligent pieces of advice we have ever heard on daytime television. She looked Kat in the eye and told her that she does not need to feel guilty for protecting her own boundaries. Nicole warned her that rushing into a marriage to appease a man's ego is a catastrophic error. A mistaken marriage costs a lifetime to fix, Nicole told her, using her own failed marriage to Ted as the ultimate cautionary tale. This is brilliant writing. Nicole is not just comforting her daughter. She is actively preventing generational trauma. She is reminding Kat that love is not about compromising your independence or forcing yourself into a box just because society or a handsome lawyer expects you to. Nicole and Ted loved each other, but their marriage was fraught with miscommunications, betrayals, and ultimately a painful divorce that took years to heal from. Nicole is holding up her own scars and telling Kat to learn from them. It is a raw, vulnerable moment that proves Nicole is not just a fierce businesswoman. She is a mother who will stop at nothing to ensure her daughter's emotional survival. But what about the man on the other side of this rejected proposal? Let's pivot to Tomas Navarro, who is currently nursing a severely bruised ego at the bar in Uptown. Tomas is a traditional guy. He believes in providing, in leading, and in the classic trajectory of romance. So, when Kat bought a luxury condo with her own money and then said, "not yet," to his diamond ring, his entire worldview was shaken. Tomas is sitting on a bar stool, trauma dumping his relationship woes onto the new bartender, Grayson Perez. Now, let's appreciate the bitter irony here. Grayson, a man who was blackmailed into running illegal plasma for a criminal syndicate to pay for his sick mother's care, is now playing amateur therapist to a wealthy lawyer crying about his wealthy girlfriend's real estate purchase. The contrast is almost comical, but it serves a vital narrative purpose. Grayson is an outsider looking in. He has seen the absolute darkest sides of desperation and survival. So, when Tomas complains about feeling emasculated, Grayson is the perfect person to offer a reality check. We have to ask ourselves, and Tomas is clearly asking himself, are he and Kat actually compatible? Tomas loves the idea of Kat. He loves her strength when it is directed at saving Eva or fighting external battles. But when that same fierce, independent type A energy is directed at their relationship, Tomas feels threatened. This barside conversation is not just filler, it is a catalyst. Tomas is verbalizing his deepest insecurities. He is questioning if he is truly the right fit for a fiercely independent Dupree woman. Can he handle a partner who does not need him to provide for her, but rather chooses to have him around? Grayson's advice, whatever it may specifically be, is going to force Tomas to look in the mirror. Is Tomas going to double down on his traditional expectations and walk away from the woman he claims to love? Or is he going to swallow his pride, evolve, and accept that loving Kat means loving her independence? The spoilers hint that after this deep, whiskey-soaked conversation with Grayson, Tomas is going to make a massive, game-changing decision regarding his future with Kat. When you look at these three storylines together, a brilliant thematic thread emerges: the necessity of boundaries and the painful reality of compatibility. Leslie Thomas is a woman who refuses to acknowledge boundaries, and it is costing her the love of her daughter. Nicole Dupree is a woman who learned about boundaries the hard way, and she is using that pain to empower her daughter to stand strong. And Tomas Navarro is a man who is currently crashing headfirst into a boundary he never expected to face, forcing him to reevaluate his entire identity as a partner. This is what makes Beyond the Gates so incredibly addictive. It is not just about the sensational drama of tornadoes and secret affairs. It is about the deeply human, highly relatable struggles of navigating love, ego, and self-worth. It is about the realization that sometimes love simply is not enough if you are fundamentally incompatible, and that true strength often lies in the ability to walk away, or in Kat's case, the ability to say no when the world expects you to say yes. So what happens next? Will Leslie's humiliation push her to enact a dangerous revenge plot against Shanice? Will Kat take her mother's advice to heart and fully embrace her single, independent? And what major, earth-shattering decision is Tomas Navarro about to make after closing his tab at Up? One thing is for absolute certain: the fallout from these decisions is going to shake Fairmont Crest to its very core, and we will be right here to analyze every single glorious second of it. What do you guys think? Is Tomas justified in feeling emasculated, or does he need to get over himself and support Kat's independence? And is there any hope left for Leslie's redemption, or is she destined to be the villain of her own story forever? Drop your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over.